Famous the lineups. We noticed Caligiuri getting a start today as we take a look at Bora.
Bora trying to hide already. It's a bit early in the day for that.
So we're just about set to go here from the Rose Bowl. There's the referee, these fellows from Costa Rica, Ronald Gutierrez, Efren Rodriguez, Jorge Catiano. And ABC Sports would like to thank Budweiser, MasterCard, Nike, the U.S. Postal Service, and Canon for bringing you today's game action commercial-free. See some new light blue jerseys for the United States. As we're underway from the Rose Bowl, and this portion of today's game is brought to you commercial-free by Budweiser. The United States in these, I guess we could call them kind of Carolina blue. Two jerseys. A little bit darker than the UCLA blue. The Bruins, of course. This is where they play their home football games. Balboa will send it over near side. Caligiuri, we mentioned him getting the start today, Seamus.
Yeah, Caligiuri, as you mentioned, also a UCLA great. And I suppose Paul is getting towards the end of his career, but they need to take a look at him again at left back. Jeff Agus, the other left back, but Caligiuri, I think, very much up for the occasion here today. Also, a new proud papa himself of just a couple of weeks.
Villa, number 13, will send it near side to 18, Enrique Alfaro. Alfaro with some great quickness will dominate on the sidelines over there with his speed. And Seamus, your keys to victory.
Well, I think the U.S. have got to get away from giving up early goals, and they really got to go up after some of the new young players in Mexico. And the game is going to be won in midfield without question. Mexico would love to dictate this game their way and to capitalize heavily, psychologically, emotionally, and every other possible way from this pro-Mexican crowd. Although there are quite a few American flags here today.
There absolutely are. A lot of energy in this stadium today. As the ball controlled in midfield, John Harkes. Ramos battling over there, but Tab had it taken away. Foul called, and quickly now, U.S. trying to get it restarted. Del Olmo was the man doing battle.
Well, his role, Del Olmo, is going to be very interesting today, as he is listed as a defender, but likes to come up in midfield a lot.
He just completed that hard sliding tackle over there. Reyna playing up front with Winalda today. Quick throw in as Harkes tried to get it in, and it's off a Mexican player, and the United States is going to have a corner kick.
This will be interesting to see here. Johnny Harkes with a good crossing effort with pressure down the right side. But the U.S. of course will bring up the big players from the back, namely Lalas and Balboa. And Balboa well known to Mexican defenders.
Ramos is going to take the corner, curves it in, and headed up in a way there by Villa as Reyna traps it off his chest. And then is hit after he let go. And I'll tell you, Reyna's having a few words right there. Reyna having a few words.
Yeah, with Luis Garcia. Luis Garcia, number 10.
Okay.
Luis Garcia, we mentioned, the leading scorer for the championship here, the U.S. Cup. But now he's actually picked out Sol. I think the referee has picked out Alfaro is the player he was wanting.
I thought it was Divino. I couldn't. The number was blocked.
Well, here's another look at it. Yes, no, it's Luis Garcia.
That is Garcia.
The captain's armband on him there.
So a throw in for the United States, and Reyna has 3 men on him, battling there across the goal line, and it'll be a goal kick coming up for Mexico. As Villa was all over Claudio Reyna. Campos in goal, didn't play in the first 2 games, and Bora got some good work out of Osvaldo Sanchez in a victory against Bolivia. And there, what a hit. Ronaldo just laid a Mexican player flat. Is that Lara? Yes.
Referee still doesn't know about it. All the players are in the center circle, pushing and shoving, and Campos has come out to go after Winalda, and the referee finally is aware that there's a problem back in the middle of the park. There's a huge mob of players in the center circle.
Well,
I think there was an elbow, but let's take a look here. The challenge for Winalda. See him coming in. There's a high elbow there.
Yes, it is.
Yep. It was to Raul Lara. Well, very definitely an elbow by Winalda, which the camera has caught. And he's trying to apologize now. You know, I have to say, the high elbows have become a real dangerous feature of the modern game. You see it all the time now. As you see the challenge coming in, he's trying to reach his shoulder in, but the elbow goes in too. One of the techniques of soccer is to get your shoulder inside the opponent's shoulder so you can then exert some physical pressure on him. But often that elbow goes up and you get some dangerous injuries out of it.
Well, the key thing for the U.S., the referee did not see it. Mr. Gutierrez, as the United States loses control of the ball. Balboa sends it across. Now back Caligiuri will get it back to Brad Friedel. There's a nice mix here today, Seamus, of U.S. fans and Mexican fans. We think back to about, what, a week, 10 days before the World Cup, and the United States played Mexico here, and they had about 90,000, and probably 80 to 85 were Mexican fans.
That's right. This is a notable change. We expected a more dominant Mexican crowd.
The game, by the way, the U.S. won 1-0, and of course, a lot of fans, it's 2-for-1 day. We'll stay to watch the Galaxy of Los Angeles, Tampa Bay Mutiny, two teams leading their respective divisions, as you saw Rafael Garcia right there. 13 on the near side is Villa.
The referee is going to call it very tight now for the next few minutes because he senses their motions are running a bit high.
That's Alfaro and Kobe Jones, and Alfaro takes it away. Valencia's number 19 for Mexico. Parks, the captain, loses control. Now Lawless will head it back in the midfield, and one header to another. And now this is Palencia, number 19, as Alexi Lawless was there with a nice tackle from behind. And Kobe Jones will take it on the near side, across the touchline, throw in for the United States.
Well, Bora, I think, obviously protesting to the fourth official about who knows what, but Bora will seek every possible advantage he can get out of this situation. He's a crafty guy, he knows all the tricks.
He's been known to go in and talk to the officials before the game, too, just to make conversation. Well, there was a scene at Giant Stadium Wednesday night in the Ireland-Mexico game that nearly got out of hand. Mick McCarthy and two of his players were ejected, and McCarthy and Bora nearly went at one another. In a game that ended in a 2-2 tie. Jones steals it away. And now he's grabbed there by number 13, Villa. And a foul, yeah.
Kobe Jones, a local hero also. Star for the LA Galaxy here in Los Angeles. The question is if he will go for another 90 minutes after this. I would be very surprised.
It's a little warm here today.
It is. He will undoubtedly have a shower and a cool, refreshing drink and then watch his fellow teammates take on Tampa Bay.
Well, maybe he could come on late in the game if needed. When you're young, you can do those things, Shiz.
That was a long time ago.
Reyna got it back to Kobe Jones, knocked across the near side touchline. Lara was the last to touch it, so the United States will have the throw in.
And Mexico showing that they respect Kobe Jones. They're putting very early pressure on him, and every time he gets the ball, there's a player on him immediately and a second defender behind him. So obviously, Bora knows these players of America very well, has prepared Mexico for this game.
Long throw in, headed back out to Jones, who will let it come back. And now he throws it back in the direction of Lawless. Reyna gets a piece of it. And Ramos, the long shot from outside, and Campos with the save there.
Well, Dooley took a gamble, but it was a good one as the Mexicans now counterattack.
Quickly down to the other end. That was Garcia that sends it wide. Now inside, and Friedel comes out to grab a hold of it.
Excellent and important early touch for Brad Friedel. A difficult ball coming on the cross. It took a bounce. He had to get there, judge it correctly, and then hold on to it as
that was Palencia.
Palencia was right on the doorstep.
Caligiuri, who played a week ago Saturday for his MLS team, the Columbus Crew, was ejected from the game in the 60th minute, then flew to Foxborough to be there for the game against Ireland. And ball goes across the far side touchline. Brad Friedel, who is getting all the action in this U.S. Cup 96, plays professionally now in Turkey, and Casey Keller will be the keeper for Bruce Arena in the U.S. Olympic team. And Steve, all dressed up, coming home today. number 6 for Mexico. He's the man that took the elbow from Ronaldo earlier as Reyna comes up with the errant pass, trying to get it down to Ronaldo. Now taken back in the midfield area. That was Sol. Manuel Sol is number 15. 2 is Claudio Suarez. And 5 is Divino on the other side. Mike Burns for the United States, number 4.
A bad play by Ronaldo there.
And long ball coming in, and oh, Garcia. He is a prolific goal scorer, and the ball just a little bit too long.
Well, yes, and he had made a perfect run. He had timed his run perfectly to get through the defense, and the ball was just overplayed. This is a very fast surface, Roger. We've been walking around. It's a beautiful surface, but the ball does skim along quite quickly.
Luis Garcia had 14 goals in the Mexican League this past year, and both Mexico and the United States good records in '96. The U.S. 5-2, Mexico 5-1-2. And in those 8 games, Luis Garcia was 6 goals. You look at Paul Caligiuri, one of the real true veterans, a groundbreaker, if you will, in U.S. soccer. Opened doors for many players to go over to Europe. Now back home, playing in the MLS along with a number of his teammates. Long ball down the far side and headed out over there by Burns. And a throw in for Mexico. There's Alexi Lawless. There's Burns. Lawless and Burns, teammates with the New England Revolution. I want to remind you, Saturday at 3 Eastern Pacific, 2 Central on ABC Sports, the Pro Bowlers Tour goes to Wichita for the Kingpin Classic. Then live from Germany on ABC's Wide World of Sports, former champ Michael Moore meets Axel Schultz for the IBF World Heavyweight Crown. That's all Saturday here on ABC Sports. Seamus, I bet you remember the team in the 3rd division in the Bundesliga that Axel Schultz played on. Huh? I thought if anybody would, you would. One of those trivia questions, Seamus.
It was, yes. Yeah. I'm thinking But didn't he have an Irish grandparent or something?
Yeah, I think so. Ball set from Ramos. Dooley sends it across, and Reyna can't quite catch up with it.
Interesting play from Tom Dooley trying to find Reyna. There's Tom Dooley. Dooley drifting way to the right. Normally he's been more central. Now he's central.
You know, it's interesting with Schalke last year, Seamus, he played in 20 matches, and in the games he played in, they only lost 1, which just tells you about his presence on the field as Valencia makes the run. Lawless over there on him. Now some help from behind with Burns as Valencia tries to send it in and off the leg of Alexi Lawless, and it will be a corner kick upcoming. There's Mike Burns, who's really sort of found himself here under Steve Sampson in a spot on this starting unit for the United States. There's Sol, Manuel Sol. Well, he could be the next superstar of Mexican soccer. Youngster they're very high on. Villa, 13, sliding tackle there. Beautiful job by Balboa. And the United States, long ball headed back. And a whistle.
The linesman was given offside. The flag went over on the far side as Ronaldo was trying to get ready to receive that attempted long ball, and he just went behind the last defender down here on the left, and therefore was behind the defense.
There's the offensive time of possession, just a little bit more, and the flag goes up again. Another offside there against Mexico.
Well, that tells you a little bit about how scrappy the play has been so far. A lot of tension out there, a lot of nerves. Nobody able to sort of camp in the opponent's half and string some passes together. It's been very hit or miss.
Rafael Garcia giving chase to Mike Burns over there, and a battle on the far side. And the United States with the throw-in. Tab Ramos, who has really been a busy man since U.S. Cup '95. He's played now. This will be his 57th game that he's played since U.S. Cup '95. Played Mexican League, MLS, and for his country as Caligiuri trying to drop it inside and shielded nicely there as Jorge Campos, who's having a great year in MLS. his team has not lost a game, and he's allowing just over 1 goal a game, Seamus.
He really is phenomenal, and he's made a couple of those characteristic runs of his out of the back. You know, he wears the number 9, which traditionally has been the center forward's number under the old numbering system, which is now gone by the boards, but he means it. He says, I'll be up at center forward before you know it.
That was Claudio Suarez, who sent it back into Campos. Now back to Claudio Suarez, one of the veterans at age 27 with 62 caps. He played every minute of World Cup '94 as Palencia onto the ball. So one of the several players with a lot of international experience. Alfaro is number 18. He's dangerous from that corner. Sends it back outside, and the header just off the mark as Villa, number 13, got it inside the area to Luis Garcia. He's not very big, but he is very, very creative. He's 5 feet 7 inches tall, and obviously a concern for Steve Sampson.
Well, also a concern for Steve Sampson has got to be the wing defensive play here, because so far the Mexicans have attacked. They've looked so dangerous going down the edges of the United States defense. Caligiuri getting a little bit out of position there and having to retreat fast. And the Mexicans can take advantage of that. They tried it on Burns on the far side, and Alexi Lalas came over to help out. So U.S. has had some problems with that against Ireland and against Scotland recently, but they should be well prepared for this Mexican team with that kind of attack.
Ronaldo gave chase, couldn't get it, and Campos will send it downfield, and Lawless and Palencia, and Burns gets it to Harks, the U.S. captain. Now back to Mike Burns, Ramos, and taken away there. Luis Garcia gives chase over the far side, and it'll be a throw-in for the United States. The largest crowd ever to watch a U.S. national team game was in World Cup '94, 93,869 here on June 22nd against Colombia, and then of course that same number against Romania on the 26th. But Seamus, we're told today they expect more than 95,000 here. And as soon as we get an official attendance, we'll of course pass it on to you.
I talked about the midfield battle, and so far it's been a kind of a war of attrition in midfield with nobody is achieving any dominance. The Mexicans have done, I think, what they wanted to do so far, which is to stop the good inter-passing play of the United States midfield, and the midfield for the U.S. has done something of the same thing. There's a foul by Caligiuri, by Marcelo Balboa. But that's where I think that the whole match here hangs in the balance on who can really get moving fast out of midfield and get attacks going.
Saw Balboa there. And the replay in the large box to lower left, and there's the foul from behind. I'm sure Marcelo very familiar with a number of these players, having played in the Mexican League this past year.
Well, it is interesting. These two countries are now getting to know each other very, very well indeed. Bad mistake by Cody Jones there. And that's great. I mean, that's what you want to have. You want to have international rivalries between bordering countries that is even and not top-sided the way it used to be for years of U.S. and Mexico.
And Jones sending it down. Campos coming out. He is very, very aggressive. Now Ramos is over there, and Campos sends it across the far side touchline, and a throw-in for the United States. That's not out of the ordinary for Jorge Campos.
No, that's very mild, in fact.
Burns, left foot from way outside. And this portion of today's game is brought to you commercial-free by MasterCard.
Well, that was a long-range shot off target by Mike Burns, but there is a temptation when you are an opponent of Jorge Campos to take long-range shots, because he does drift off his goal line. And in fact gave up his first goal in MLS by virtue of being way off the goal line and was victimized by it.
So that's the strategy. When he comes out, and if you can get the ball back, just go ahead and blast something in there and maybe pick something up as Palencia gives him Lawless over there, off Lawless in the area, and sent up in the midfield. Beautiful move there by Ramos, but Davino takes it back for Mexico. No score here between the United States and Mexico. See the running clock in the left-hand corner of your screen. Reyna pushed from behind there by Sol. No call as Sol sends it near side to Villa. Alfaro was number 18. Caligiuri missed the tackle with some space. Slips it inside the shot, and Friedel is there to make the save. Brad Friedel with some nice work there by Mexico. And of course, the man taking the shot, Luis Garcia. Campos gets a hand on it as Ronaldo was in a foot race to get the ball.
Well, a great run here by Garcia. Look at him go right through the defense, gets in front of Lexi Lawless, and well smothered and held by Brad Friedel. But Luis Garcia is so adept at finding the seams in the defense where he can run in and get those passes to his feet.
Alfaro sends it to the middle, and Lawless to Kobe Jones, who gets a head on it. Reyna misses it, and back to the midfield area, Divino. And Villa 13. Mexico with the one shot on goal. United States 2 as Jones loses his footing. Battling with Villa there on the near side.
U.S. very definitely not in its game rhythm at all yet. Mexico, in fact, looking a lot more comfortable in their midfield, particularly with these wing attacks.
And there's a foul. Caligiuri.
This will be a card, I think. Yellow card.
Enrique Alfaro, number 18, was pulled down.
So Paul Caligiuri gets the first yellow card of the game, which means, of course, this is a warning. If he were to get another yellow card during this game, he would be automatically ejected, which is what happened to him in a recent Major League Soccer game. He was ejected with a red card, in fact.
He bumped the referee. Raul Dominguez, who was the man that officiated the game the other night at the Meadowlands, where the Irish were being sent out of the stadium at a steady pace. Free kick by Villa here. And Claudio Suarez, number 2, was the man flashing across the area with Lawless right behind him. Off the head, the save by Friedel. My goodness.
Another
Luis Garcia.
Fabulous darting run by Luis Garcia, number 10. He's so quick. That run was beautifully timed. The flick on was magic. Just going right for the corner. And a fabulous save by Brad Friedel. Here's the ball. Look at this beautifully flighted ball. See him run now. Gets in front of the defense, in front of Caligiuri, and were it not for the fingertips of Brad Friedel, that was in.
That's a 38-inch sleeve right there, folks.
There you go. Look at that. Good flick on.
So over the corner kick. Over the top. That was interesting. After that save by Friedel, Luis Garcia went over and shook hands with Brad Friedel and said, "Nice save."
Well, Luis Garcia is one of the veterans of this, a few veterans, but there's a flick on by Palencia in this one after that corner kick, just flying over the top. So much more attacking enterprise being shown by the Mexican team around the U.S. goal than is the case at the other end. U.S. very much out of its attacking rhythm so far, and that ball will not be retrieved by Burns.
They haven't been able to really put any combinations together, Seamus. String out some passes as once again the run by Palencia. Lawless over on him. Now Burns comes back to help. And headed out there by Harks to the near side. Well, it seems like Steve Sampson's been experimenting a lot with the midfield. As a deflected shot right there by Enrique Alfaro.
Well, you see, I think that Tom Dooley, whom we talked about at the beginning, the game's been going by Tom a lot, you know, and he is such an important general in midfield. He's got to get into it a bit more, and they've got to find him a bit more. At the moment, they're just sort of giving the ball away much too easily to the Mexican team, and that's giving them the confidence to attack and find each other.
Well, the fact of the matter is he is 8 years older than any other player on the field. He is 35. And I mean, he's a great leader, still has some playing time left in him. But he is looking at a lot of 20-year-old and 21 and 22-year-olds running around beside him. As Caligiuri gives chase. Friedel's coming out, dangerous situation. And Caligiuri clears that ball down to the other end. And no call over there as Reyna was looking for something. And they say play on, but that Bolivia goal the other night was a situation where Friedel might have been a little hesitant in coming out in that first goal. Now, here comes Friedel. Dangerous situation. The whip right there. And cleared out. Palencia whipped it as Friedel came out. It was sitting there for him, and all he had to do was make contact, and he didn't.
A terrible breakdown in the U.S. defense as Caligiuri and Friedel get it all wrong. But here comes Ronaldo. He's got help on the other side. He can't see him.
Ronaldo tripped up just outside the area. Oh, and they're going to call a foul. Now a bump of the referee, and the card comes out.
I think it's Claudio Suarez who is challenging the referee there. But very definitely a foul. I mean, how could it possibly not be a foul?
Look at Sampson and Bora. Well, I'll tell you, from Mick McCarthy to Steve Sampson, they all want something of Bora, don't they?
Well, what a miss at the other end, and what a terrible catastrophe that was in the making for the U.S. because the ball was played back much too slowly and short by Caligiuri, and Alfaro comes in, gets it away, and here's Palencia with the tuck-in. He has just got to make decent contact, and he tries a little bit more drama and flair that was needed, and Mike Burns can't believe how lucky he is to be able to get this one away. But Caligiuri's header back to Friedel was the big problem. Here comes Friedel. Oh, he's very definitely hit from behind.
Well sold.
Yeah, no question about that.
So the referee here, Ronald Gutierrez, is still trying to untangle the players and get this free kick set up for the United States. And of course, Ronaldo specializes in these. He works on these constantly, Seamus. We've seen him after practice working on that high dipping shot to get over the wall.
Right. Yeah, and if there's one weakness that Jorge Campos has, that's pretty obvious from looking at him. He's 5'9". So he's very agile, but he's not very tall. So you can pick a high corner and get it over the wall. There's a good chance here. But there's no question that was a foul. He was hit from behind, and it wasn't a brutal foul, but he very definitely was taken down. The Mexican player is claiming, as a lot of defenders do, that he took a dive. Not so.
Ronaldo has not scored in U.S. Cup 96, and the wall takes care of that as Harks gives chase over on the far side, and it'll be a throw-in for the United States. So Steve Sampson and Bora Milutinovic having a few words, and Steve is well aware of how Bora can work the officials.
Well, there's an unusual call. You don't see at this level very much. An illegal throw.
And now a card coming out to Kobe Jones.
I think he may have given it to... well, Kobe Jones is arguing with him because Kobe Jones made the illegal throw, but I think Ramos kicked the ball away in disgust. I think Chab Ramos has gotten the card.
It was in the general area of both of them, and they're both over. Now Ramos is talking to... They give it to Ramos.
Yeah, no, I thought he definitely kicked the ball away in disgust at the initial call of an illegal throw by Kobe Jones, which, as I said, is a call you just never see, or very rarely see at this level. You see it in college or in high school. But Kobe Jones didn't throw the ball into the satisfaction of the...
Well, what do you mean the satisfaction?
Well, let's take a look at it here. Well, good question. You're supposed to have the ball's got to be released over the top of your head, and you've got to have both feet. You've got to have both feet on the line, or you can't be encroaching on the field when you throw it. But it's such a minor piece of play that it's like the odd foot fault that's given in tennis. I mean, it happens all the time, and it's just rarely called.
Ball across to the near side. Mexico in the green, United States in the light blue. Alfaro, 18, sends it into Villa, and Friedel has to come out and make the diving save. Boy, another good opportunity right there for Mexico as Rafael Garcia was on the spot now. Reyna, and he's got 3 men around him. Reyna now has 4 men around him, and the tackle and the throw-in for the United States.
I tell you, Brad Friedel needs to buy dinner for... Paul Caligiuri needs to get dinner for Brad Friedel tonight. Paul Caligiuri is having a very tough game today. He's been victimized several times on the far side. He looks a bit slow, and he's had all kinds of trouble.
That was Caligiuri there, and they're going to call the foul on him. Well, that was the transition they made from the last game to this game. Caligiuri in for Agus.
That's right.
Well, Desmond, what's going on down there between those two coaches?
A lot of controversy between the two coaches trying to work the refs on the sideline. Obviously trying to get the referee to side with them. Steve Sampson basically yelling back and forth, and Boer coming up in his face. It seems like the referee in the middle of the field actually is covering for Mexico. A little leniency there because the players are more calm on the field. If the USA can keep their composure, then the tides may change.
Thanks, Des. Well, Steve Sampson speaks fluent Spanish, so there's no lack of communication with Gutierrez. As Reyna trying to create some space. Nothing there. Now Harks comes onto the ball. Kobe Jones in the middle. Reyna chips it onto Ramos. Now Tab, nice move there. And taken away by the defense of Mexico. That's Luis Garcia, number 10. He's taken off the ball by Harks. Now back to Reyna. And Reyna looking for Ronaldo. Ronaldo, with just one man on him, will send it back to Dooley. And the tackle there, but Ronaldo gets it back into the box. Kobe got a head on it. And now cleared away by Lara. Caligiuri. Very physical play so far as Tab Ramos taken off the ball by Luis Garcia.
And they pressure Tab Ramos very heavily when he's near the sideline. Doesn't bother Tab Ramos. He's played a lot in the Mexican League and, of course, is experienced at getting out of difficult situations.
Yellow cards, Seamus, for the United States and Mexico.
Yeah, well, Tab Ramos for dissent was when he kicked the ball away, showing disgust with the referee's decision, and that's sort of dissenting from the referee's view. And Garcia got the other one, although I was very surprised that it wasn't Claudio Suarez, because he was the one who bumped the referee. He was number 2. But then Luis Garcia came in as captain to try to break that up, and he must have said something to the referee that Mr. Gutierrez didn't like.
So right there, Ramos was mixing it up with Enrique Alfaro. Now back in play. Mexico's had the best opportunity so far in this game as we're in the 31st minute. No score between the United States and Mexico. The U.S. with a win will capture U.S. Cup 96. Mexico just needs a draw or a win. Now a long ball. Burns back defending. Garcia lets it go through his legs. Nobody was running onto it there. And Reyna comes back to take it. Dangerous situation with 3 Mexican players, and Balboa finally finds Dooley in the midfield. And Burns will swing it up. And the tackle on the far side taken away from Kobe Jones, and the throw in for the United States.
But you see right away a foul call. Another foul, yes. And Del Olmo on Jones, and on the other side, the number 18 player, Enrique Alfaro, constantly on Tab Ramos. They want to break those 2 players down near the touchline so they don't get free and get around the back of the Mexican defense.
Long ball headed out there by Mexico, and now the throw-in. Number 14 there, Joaquin Del Olmo. Across the far side touchline, the United States will take control. The Del Olmo once again over there fighting. What has Bora done to this Mexican team from, say, a year ago? Personalities, some veterans, a lot of controversy about people that should still be on the team, but he's finding his own players.
Finding his own players, as he has always done, as he did in Mexico when he had them before, and as he did in Costa Rica, and frankly, as he did here in the United States. Here comes the counterattack.
Chipped inside. Dooley misses the header off the post and in! Score! USA! Eric Ronaldo!
Well, give a lot of credit to Tom Dooley, but also to Eric Ronaldo. That was not an easy ball to put away. And if anybody needs a goal on this team, it's Eric Ronaldo. He's been frustrated of late, had terrible misses against Scotland, even though he scored a penalty, and has not been able to score in this championship. But he was the right man in the right spot as that ball was flighted way over Campos' head, and he was right there. Here's the cross coming over. Dooley lets it go, or can't reach it, and right there is Ronaldo with the finish. Is that John Hart's with the cross? and excellent finishing by Wijnaldum, because Campos had drifted to that side where he must go with that cross, and Wijnaldum had only one place to put it, which was at the far post, and he put it right in there. So I would have to say, against a run of play, really, the United States has gone ahead 1-0. If you think of all the near misses that Mexico has had, this has got to upset them a little bit. So let's see how they react to it.
So Eric Wijnaldum in the 34th minute from Harks, as both Dooley and Wijnaldum were in very good position there, Seamus.
Right. Well, Dooley, when I said give credit to Tom Dooley, he had made the central run that they had to react to. And they had to move towards him in the defense, and that allowed Wijnaldum in the back door. And the cross was right to his foot, and he came to him the half volley, which is not easy, and he put it away beautifully.
And the first thing he did, he ran right at Steve Sampson and gave him a big hug.
Don't let it get too high. Wait. Go on.
Well, Wijnaldum, the all-time leading scorer for the United States with his 24th goal, and he celebrated his birthday last Sunday. This man, Kobe Jones, celebrating his 26th birthday today. So the birthday present came a week late for Eric Wijnaldum, but it's okay. The United States has a 1-0 lead over Mexico. And so that, not really a streak, but the fact of the matter, in 20 previous games under Steve Sampson, the United States had fallen behind 13 times. Not to happen today.
Tom Dooley coming over there nicely to help Tab Ramos out when two players had dropped him in. Good long ball.
And here's Wijnaldum, Campos.
Terrific ball out of the back from Balboa. And, you know, if this grass had been just a little longer, that would have held up for him.
This portion of today's game is brought to you commercial-free by Nike.
The ball skipping over the surface there. Marcelo Balboa with a terrific vision there, hitting a 65-yard or 70-yard ball from way in the back, right into the position that Wijnaldum had run into, and it just took off on him at the end.
We'll have a nice feature on Marcelo Balboa coming up at halftime here from the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. Cello, as he's called by his teammates. And Ramos not able to keep that in play. It'll be a throw-in for Mexico.
U.S. beginning to show some signs now of taking advantage, if you will, of the drop in enthusiasm by the Mexicans, finding themselves open, finding a little bit more time to pass. But Mexican team with Bora will regroup and will get themselves back into it. But this is a jolt, without any question. It's taken the crowd out of the game a little bit, and it certainly, this is a young Mexican team feeling that they've done very well, and now they're down a goal.
Harks got it to Kobe Jones. Now Manuel Sol over there, number 15, is able to clear it back to Davino. And it's quieted the Mexican crowd here at the Rose Bowl. There are the attempts on goal and the score. And across the near side touchline, Alfaro fell there, and Caligiuri.
Sometimes statistics don't tell the truth either. I mean, those are accurate numbers, but if you think about opportunities to get goals, when you have the ball in the penalty area, even if you don't get the shot off, my goodness, Mexico has had some terrific opportunities. And the U.S. really only won, and they made it count.
Oh, Wijnaldum's got 6 goals now in 1996. I mean, he has really been the counterpart, if you will, for the prolific Mexican scorer, Luis Garcia. Both of them have had terrific years for their national team. Wijnaldum got off to a good start in MLS. He plays for the San Jose Clash. He scored the first goal in MLS history, but then he really sort of had a hard time, you know, I don't want to say fitting in, but his level of play compared to maybe his teammates and meshing that, and he really came on strong right before this U.S. Cup. Got a couple of goals in a game against Kansas City, as the U.S. now controlling the ball in the midfield area. And across the near side.
Yeah, they just did control it very nicely there for a while, then tried to squeeze it a bit too much. Here's a nice little replay of the steal by Tab Ramos. Gets the foot up, traps it, and then plays out of trouble nicely as he gets whacked from behind. But players getting a little bit closer together for the U.S. now to help each other out. That wasn't happening in the first 20 minutes. They were strung apart and not making what we call the off-the-ball runs to help out people stuck in traffic.
Foul was there on Balboa as Villa takes a free kick and headed away by Marcelo.
Corner kick for Mexico.
Marcelo has played more games for the United States than any other player. This is really a veteran United States team now, Seamus, against a very young Mexico team.
Exactly.
Corner taken, and Dooley gets ahead on it. Winalda trying to maintain possession. Davino. And that was Del Olmo who went up in the air. And a foul there.
Bicycle kick in traffic was not allowed, and it was done by Marcelo Balboa, who tried to clear it out. And Lexi Lalas is rightly complaining about the challenge that came in on another American player earlier. There's the challenge with the elbow into the back of by Del Olmo. Now here's the bicycle kick, but you see Palencia is right there going for a header, which he's entitled to, and right by his nose is the boot of Marcelo Balboa.
Oh, now we got some players right there in the arc.
There's no question.
That's Sol and Winalda.
Feelings are running very high in this game. This is a real, what they call, I guess in England, a local derby now. This is, two teams from the same city who hate each other. I don't know if that's maybe a bit strong for this match, but certainly the fans in these local derbies, these matches mean more than anything else. England-Scotland, we just saw yesterday, for instance, in the European Championship, which England won.
Seamus, let's set this up now. Luis Garcia measuring here with the ball right in front of the wall and Brad Friedel behind them on this free kick. Friedel directing traffic.
Mexico has done well in these.
Manuel Sol has stepped in there.
He's awfully good at this too, but also Rafael Garcia is the man outside the arc.
And Del Olmo, number 14, nearest to you on the screen.
This is it should be an indirect free kick, by the way. That's officially dangerous play. So two Mexican players must touch it. You can't just score by a direct shot on goal.
There it is, the chip, and wide on the near side.
The U.S. Olympic team, the under-23 team, playing the Mexican under-23 team, recently lost 3-2, and the third goal, the winning goal, was just from a situation like that, which Mexico converted.
Speaking of that Olympic team, the U.S. roster and their coach Bruce Arena has got to have that roster ready by the 19th, and the three overage players in all likelihood are going to be Casey Keller, Claudio Reyna, and then there's a decision, is it going to be Alexi Lalas? There's been some talk about Eric Winalda, but more than likely Lalas, Winalda, and Keller. And want to remind you, next Sunday on ABC Sports, gear up for sun, sand, and speed. First at 3 Eastern, the women of pro beach volleyball meet at the Evian U.S. Open. The defending champion Al Unser Jr. and IndyCar's best test their limits on the road course in Portland at the Budweiser 200. It's all next Sunday here on ABC Sports, and we got a corner kick, Seamus, coming up.
Herman Villa, number 13, Herman Villa, number 13 for Mexico, gave a very ambitious back pass to Campos. He could not keep it in.
Second corner kick for the U.S. Todd Ramos, and Lalas was there. It went by him, and Dooley was the one that got his head on it.
Well, Lexi Lalas, you like to see very often at the far post as we look at Lexi, because he can get way up the top. But sometimes it's good to get him to the near post for a flick on, or sometimes he's merely a decoy. He makes a run through, takes a defender with him, and then the American player behind Alexi becomes the target, and that's what happened there.
Closing in on the final moments of the first half here from the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. The United States leading Mexico 1-0 on the goal in the 34th minute by Eric Winalda from John Harkes. The U.S. captain found the U.S. leading scorer as Mexico in the midfield. That's Luis Garcia, the dangerous one there, number 10. And a trip over on the far side.
John Harkes committing the foul there to slow down Del Olmo.
Quick restart. Set near side to Alfaro. Villa, number 13, and Ramos got a piece of it. His soul gets it to the middle, and Harks will clear it back down to the other end.
Well, a bit disappointing for John Harks there that they do want to clear the lines, obviously, get the danger away, but there's still some time to go. There was stoppages in this game, so there will be time added on by the referee to make up for those stoppages.
Burns sends it back to Friedel, who misses it. Trying to clear out. Nicely done by Kobe Jones there, back to Mike Burns. And Burns with the left foot. Reyna traps it there. Now Reyna's got Jones streaking down the far sideline, but he gave it back up to Harks, and Ramos not able to run onto it.
No, there's that fast skipping surface that hurts again, but you're right about Kobe Jones. He made the run. Claudio Reyna could not turn and knock it to him, but what Claudio needed to do was just to push it to somebody else to make the long pass, and it just didn't happen fast enough.
Claudio Suarez, number 2, 27 years of age, the player with one of the most veteran of the players for Bora Milutinovic, along with Jorge Campos. Campos with the most international appearances, and then Suarez, and we have now moved into added time. Luis Garcia sending it on down, and Friedel will come out and handle it.
He needs to slow it down a little bit here. But the U.S. has got, certainly doesn't want to give anything up here at the last second, and they're running into trouble, but making a bit of more of a challenge to this situation than they need to for themselves.
On Harks against Lara. Suarez. Villa, number 13, on the near side. Now Alfaro back to Villa. Look at this situation. Claudio Suarez gets by Lawless, and right across the goal mouth, across the far side touchline, and the United States, once again, very fortunate.
Well, and that man was Claudio Suarez, the number 2 for Mexico, and they get the throw in remarkably. I don't quite know how that happened, but they did. But he's a central defender, and you saw the skill he had on the floor going through the box there. It was a remarkable display as he went through 2 or 3 United States players and almost ruined it for the U.S.
Now Ronaldo's running onto the ball.
It's offside.
Offside. Yeah. And here's the replay of that last attempt. That's Suarez.
Yeah, goes by Lexi Lawless easily, and then Friedel forced to come out and sprawl at him.
Steve Sampson.
Referee looking at his watch now as he's played 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Ramos sends it across the near side. And Villa will take the throw in. And Balboa sends it across. Valencia will give it back to Villa, number 13. Alfaro taken down there by Dooley. And the foul, and now a card's coming out against Tom Dooley.
Well, the U.S. is making very heavy weather these last few minutes. It's not a good sign to be giving the ball away as easily as they are to your opponent. When you're up by a goal, you should be able to, as they say in the game, take the air out of the ball. That is, kill the game a little bit, hold possession, keep it away. Here we'll see Tom Dooley coming in from the side, and actually from the back through the legs of the player, and very definitely taking down Enrique Alfaro. So a card now for Dooley.
And Rafael Garcia, number 7, with the free kick, as the referee Gutierrez trying to get the U.S. wall backed up a little bit, and Friedel doing his best to direct traffic. The shot, and it's score Mexico! Rafael Garcia.
Well, a tremendous boost from Mexico here, and their coach Bora Milutinovic as he heads towards the locker room. Fluid soccer in the first half did get a very fine goal and felt they could go into the lead with the lead at the half and sort of get themselves together. Now they've had a totally different challenge presented to them to get themselves together, and it's very tough.
Well, they have some of the seats covered up here at the Rose Bowl, but it appears as though because of the demand for the tickets today, and this was a tough ticket, they're going to take the tarpaulin off those seats and let some people come on down and get a little bit closer to the action. Hopefully they'll stay in the seats as we start the second half here at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Blue skies above, a little bit of a breeze coming out of the south. Mexico in the green jerseys as they'll clear it back into Campos. United States in the light blue with the dark blue pants. Del Olmo there, 14 for Mexico, and it's knocked across the near side touchline. There's been a little bit confusion, Seamus, for the United States in the back line back there in communication with Friedel, it seems like.
Certainly was, particularly Paul Caligiuri had some very early problems. And I was surprised that that would happen, because they were pretty obvious plays where a defender simply knocks the ball short back to the goalkeeper. In one case he did with his head, but at one time the surface just held the ball up on him, whereas in the other situations it's been playing very fast. But also they've looked a little shaky in the center of the defense too when Mexican players have come in from the side with skill on the ground. They put pressure on Lawless in particular.
Saw Dooley directing traffic there. Alexi Lawless, number 22. Dooley tackles the ball away, but Mexico maintains. It's Raul Lara, number 6, who sends a long ball down and the offside.
Well, not a lot of commitment by Mexico in the way of pushing players forward in this second half. And this is what Desmond was talking about. He's saying that they might sort of get very defensive, pack it in, close U.S. down in midfield. Good turn by Kobe.
As Kobe Jones running onto the ball, taken off there by Del Olmo. And Rafael Garcia gets it to the middle. Luis Garcia. As Harks comes back now, Dooley slides by him, and Reyna, Claudio Reyna with 2 men around him. Tab Ramos, number 10, over on the far side. Back to Reyna. Ramos chips it inside. Dooley trying to run onto it. And Mexico's Enrique Alfaro will send it to the far side, but across the touch line, Villa could not get to the ball. And it'll be a throw in. There are the yellow cards.
Yeah, 3 for the U.S. The last one, the fatal one, Tom Dooley's making a tackle from behind that was illegal, and resulting in a free kick that Rafael Garcia nailed into the corner of the net with really one of the prettiest goals of U.S. Cup. As you look at Bora Milutinovic, who's really, testing this team. He wants to see what they're made of, and he's now got a chance to see them in a very different challenge with a 1-1 tie where they just need to tie.
And Ronaldo, after Reyna got his head on it, Ronaldo with the volley over the top.
Tough angle for Eric, but he is an instinctive goal scorer. Scored the first goal, has 24 in his career. And whereas a lot of players wouldn't take that opportunity, you sort of expect and really want him to do it.
I think you've got to have a bit of an attitude to be a great goal scorer, don't you, Shane?
Yeah, you really do. You have to be able to take the flak for missing, because you're going to miss more than you hit. And you have to have confidence in yourself to try the tough ones.
Balboa trapped it off his chest, but across the touch line, and the throw in for Mexico. Nice piece we had on at halftime on Marcelo Balboa. He'll be married in July. Eric Ronaldo's also getting married in the month of July. Del Olmo sends it down. Lawless giving chase. Now a little pushing and shoving going on there with Luis Garcia.
Yeah, and a warning here by the referee, just a verbal warning to Luis Garcia, telling him that, you shouldn't kick the ball away.
I think that was Italian that Lawless was speaking there.
Well,
did you see the hand gesture, huh?
But the critical point here is that man, Luis Garcia, has a yellow card already. Now, if you kick the ball away, you're supposed to get a yellow card. If he had given them the yellow, he would have been out of the game. Right. So the verbal warning was really a generous reaction by the referee.
That ball there by Burns, but Parks is able to corral it, and Caligiuri sends it right at the Mexican team. Nice run here in the middle, but Lawless clears it away. Davino. Reyna almost got it. Reyna still battling for it. Lara sends it over to the far side. Villa. Nice little move there. Davino's number 5. And Villa chips it on down. Trying to find Valencia. And Balboa was right with him.
And this is what Mexico wants to do. Play it across the back, interpassing at the back, put pressure on the far end like on Balboa and others like him by hitting long balls forward just to relieve some pressure and to frustrate the Americans. Because the U.S. will be tempted to send players forward. There's a foul. The U.S. will be tempted to send players forward to try to break up this passing, and when they do, they may leave some space at the back for the long ball counterattack.
Eric Winaldo was the man brought down there as Harks will gather it to Kobe Jones. Del Olmo there. Harks running it on to Jones, and Davino clears it across the near side touch line. The U.S. with a throw-in.
That's a bit more like it for the U.S. Harks and has got to find Kobe Jones a bit more, and Kobe, when he gets a one-on-one situation, as he did a moment ago, has got to attack the defender a bit faster.
Davino's has a very bright future. Bora really thinks a lot of his game. He's been a regular on both the under-23 team and the national team for the past 6 months, so he's been getting some heavy-duty playing time. As Kobe Jones, the long throw-in, Reyna tried to slide it off the top of his head and cleared out there by Joaquin Del Olmo. Now the run, Palencia giving battle with Wallace, and Friedel will clear it out.
But only one Mexican player up there, only Palencia. So that they may have gone to essentially what we would call a 4 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 1 attacker.
Galagiri sent that ball to Ronaldo, who comes near side to Mike Burns. Burns has it tackled away there. That's the man who scored the goal right before the half, Rafael Garcia. The left-footed ball, and Balboa will clear it out across the near side touch line, and guess who is right behind Balboa?
You bet, number 10, Luis Garcia. But Balboa does a very good job there because he gets himself in front of Garcia and is able to knock it away.
Now Rafael Garcia again, and Friedel comes out. Kobe Jones, Dooley, trying to get it back. Valencia got a piece of it, and not in time, and the U.S. will take the throw-in. These two teams, if you are interested at all in rankings in soccer, FIFA does have a ranking system. U.S. is 14th, Mexico 12th. Those change about every 3 months. I don't know, Seamus, if you put a lot of credence into those rankings, but I guess there's something to be said if you're in the top 15 in the world. Ball sent back into Campos. He hasn't had much to do so far in the second half. And any comment about the ranking, Seamus?
Well, I'm a bit puzzled by some of them. There is a sort of a mathematical formula that means if you play a lot. Oh, look at this. A break.
They run onto it. Friedel's out after it. He misses it. Alfaro trying to swing around. Now Kobe Jones has it. And another dangerous situation. Maybe Friedel's been watching Campos too much. Is trying to take a page out of his goalkeeping book.
Well, the United States defense also made the terrible mistake of thinking that they were going to get an offside call. And they just stood around, and the ball was played through, and the flag did not come up. It's a fatal mistake by defenders to assume they're going to get the offside call.
You know, that just baffles me, Seamus. As a coach, wouldn't you tell your players, I don't ever want you to put your hand up. You've got to play and just play and let the officials officiate. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, they didn't even put their hand up that time. They just stood there. It was a terrible mistake, but once again, they've escaped.
I've just never understood that. I mean, in the goal last Sunday with Ireland, Connolly's goal, everybody started to put their hand up, and he just ran right in and got the goal as Winaldo on the throw-in now. Jones right outside the area. Gets it back to Eric, who chips it inside. Dooley coming, but Campos was there. This portion of today's game is brought to you commercial-free by the U.S. Postal Service. Luis Garcia, 3 men around him. He's able to scoop by all of them. The shot! The save! Off the post! Friedel got a hold of it! And Wallace trying now to get ahead on it, and he finally does across the near side. Whoa!
Tremendous save by Friedel. But this man, Luis Garcia, normally buries these shots low by the post. This time he goes high, and Friedel was there to knock it away.
Now back to action as Reyna and Dooley trying to take it back down in the midfield area.
Here's the shot. Gets it high, which is what Friedel wants.
Ronaldo running through, and he's taken down.
That should be a card.
And Ronaldo's holding his left shoulder. Ronaldo holding in the collarbone area there. It is coming right over towards the U.S. bench.
Well, this will...
Ronaldo down on the ground, asking for some help. And
well, Ronaldo certainly going through full steam ahead, and his
Davino
lands awkwardly there, as you see, on his left shoulder with Davino's challenge. And I thought Davino was the last defender, and in which case he takes him down, he should get a red card.
Well, a card came out.
Yeah, it was yellow.
Was it yellow?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Eric is coming off slowly.
A free kick will be awarded to the United States.
Well, you see him go through there, but he was the last defender. There weren't two other defenders. Here's the shot.
Blast from outside. Tab Ramos got a lot of that one.
Terrific shot there over the top. Wonderful shot. Just a little bit off target. But as I was saying, when the run was made on Ronaldo and he was taken down, there were two defenders running back, but they were not between the defender and the goal. It should have been a red card.
Let's check in with Desmond. Des?
Eric Ronaldo landed on his shoulder, put some ice supply to it, but he's back in the game. He's toughing it out. Roger?
Okay, thank you, Desmond. So Eric Ronaldo back in now. Here comes Mexico one more time. Luis Garcia has the ball taken away there by Alexi Lawless. Reyna. Lara trying to tackle him off from behind. And Caligiuri. Now Paul will have some space. Gets it to Claudio. Tab Ramos.
No.
Offside call.
Oh, bad decision.
John Hartz was the man over there.
From here, it looked like a very bad decision, and
Sampson's having a few words with the linesman.
That was a very unfortunate decision because the defender was in line with John Hartz, which means you're certainly even means onside.
Have to keep an eye on that shoulder injury of Ronaldo. He separated his left shoulder in a MLS game against Colorado about a month ago. And he missed about a game and a half as the ball across the goal line down there as number 18 for Mexico, Enrique Alfaro, was doing battle with Caligiuri, and now a goal kick coming up for Brad Friedel.
Well, terrific emotions in this game. Obviously, the U.S. players and Mexican players going at it hammer and tongs, and both coaches, as we heard at the half, looking for some kind of edge. But so far, it certainly has not fallen Steve Sampson's way, although the run of the luck, if you will, in the game has certainly gone the U.S. way, and thanks to also good save by Friedel.
Kobe Jones eludes one man, now taken down from behind, and there's a foul. And Kobe's really having some words with Gutierrez.
Got Delomo with the foul. Kobe screaming for a card there, and a lot of this is really, I think, disrupting the United States play, and actually is playing right into the hands of the Mexican team. You've got to stay composed when you get these fouls. You can't just come popping up, screaming at referees and everything else. You've got to get yourself calmed down and concentrate on scoring the goal you need.
Ramos free kick here. Tab to Gets it up in the air. Oh, Balboa was right there, but Campos came out to get it. Quickly down to the other end. Caligiuri got a piece of that for a moment. Alfaro tackled away by Cody Jones to Alexi Lawless. Well, the U.S. had 2 defenders back there that time. Off the head of Ronaldo. Balboa once again right there, but Campos picks it up.
And does his little behind-the-back move with the ball. He's nothing if not entertaining, Campos.
Del Olmo. That's Manuel Sol, number 15, chipping it down in there. Now Mexico. Del Olmo. A hand raised up there. Nothing going. The shot, the save right there by Brad Friedel as Palencia heading point blank.
Brad Friedel has been the man of the match. This could have been a 4-goal game for Mexico, except for some spectacular saves by Friedel. But once again, some bad defense by the United States. Late reaction. Friedel in very good position there, blocking the angles of the goal, doing a good job with his body position, and then just knocking away with his foot. Caligiuri gives away a corner, but U.S. just not looking sharp in the defensive flanks as we look at Dooley, who's looks quite tired, frankly.
Friedel with 5 saves today as Mexico with the corner kick, and Rafael Garcia, number 7, is the man who'll take it over to the corner. Tied at 1. Via 13. Reyna giving chase over there. Now Ramos, nice sliding tackle by Tab. Mike Burns had it behind him. Sol gets it inside, and Garcia and Sol battle. Here comes Luis Garcia. Friedel the dive and the save out there.
Brad Friedel has just been immense in this game. He needed this kind of game, and he certainly has come up brilliantly for the U.S. when they've needed him. But the rest of the team is really kind of falling to pieces a little bit when you think of the combination play they're capable of. And Mexico finally has been able to play exactly the way they want.
The United States needs to win this game to capture U.S. Cup 96. Mexico just needs a tie or the win. Ronaldo has it taken away there. Now Lara. And let's go to Desmond Armstrong. Des.
Roger, they're about to make a substitution. The USA team, Brian McBride, about to come in for Eric Ronaldo to give him a little more spunk up top.
Now Palencia all by himself. Can Balboa get back there? Luis Garcia, the shot over the top.
Very attractive play by the Mexicans indeed, with the fast break and a nice overlap down the right side by Palencia. And Luis Garcia is so adept at playing the penalty area. Gets himself, look how open he gets himself here by the retreating run. And retreating run from his marker. And then looking for the upper near corner, which is a shot that lots of these strikers practice time and time again, that quick service back on an angle and try to knock it up the top corner.
Caligiuri and Balboa back there. Pushing and shoving over on the far side. Palencia comes over to help out. It'll be a throw in for Mexico.
Substitution now for the U.S. Well, this will be interesting.
Yeah, as Des just told us, Brian McBride, who's had a terrific year for the Columbus Crew in MLS. He's had 8 goals and 2 assists in 10 games, one of the leading scorers in the league. And Del Olmo getting a few words there from Bora Milutinovic. Young man played at St. Louis University from Arlington Heights, Illinois. Has really burst on the scene this year.
And warmly greeted by Ronaldo.
Inside the shot, the save by Friedel, and once again, Mexico with a terrific opportunity, and Luis Garcia one more time.
Well, as I mentioned, he's so good at running into great positions, and once in those positions, getting off shots on goal, they're gliding across Alexi Lawless and drifting that volley in that was well read by Friedel.
Tab Ramos running onto it. Now he's pushed by Davino. Ramos, a sliding tackle right there in the area, and the corner kick.
Look at how well Garcia gets inside Lawless here and gets the volley off. But again, Brad Friedel being cognizant of his near post, but still gives himself enough room to make the save at the far post.
So Ramos with the corner. It's a chance of USA now. And Campos gets a piece of it. That was McBride who sent it up in the air. Lawless, and it looked like it was punched out right there by Campos.
Lawless pushing on Suarez to get position. Foul.
Let's go down to Desmond. Des?
Down here with Eric Ronaldo, you had a problem with your shoulder earlier in the season with MLS. Is this the same occurrence?
Yeah, it's the last play there. I fell down on it and it popped a little bit. It's just one of those things. I'm not really mobile anymore with my arm. I got to be pushing off on people, and it's better to let Brian get his chance and see if he can't get us a goal.
Well, you had a good point there, and congratulations. Happy birthday, a week late. Back to you, Raj.
Okay, Des, thank you very much. So Winalda out of the game now, and McBride in the 64th minute. Tied at 1 between the United States and Mexico here on a sun-drenched day in Pasadena, California.
That's a tough loss for the U.S. I mean, it's good to see McBride get his chance, but Ronaldo is such a competitive player, and he's such a hungry player for goals that he is. That is a big loss. Here's Kobe Jones.
Yeah, Caligiuri sent the ball down there to Kobe. Suarez over there marking him now. Villa knocks him off the ball, and they say play on. Enrique Alfaro, 18.
But nobody came to help Kobe out there, and he needed a player to come help him, and he did not get any help.
There's the attempts on goal. John Harkes, the team captain, not only for the national team, but for his DC United squad.
Complaining to the referee that the Mexican players are wasting time, which is, of course, what they'll want to do with 66 minutes gone.
Mexico beat Bolivia 1-0 down in Dallas. Very fortunate to get a 2-2 tie with Ireland. Ireland playing a man down for the final 25 minutes as Burns giving chase back there, and Burns able to send it across the near side. Burns is saying it was a throw-in. It didn't go across the goal line.
A good run by Rafael Garcia there, the goal scorer, to get behind Mike Burns. And Garcia has been playing in midfield in this half, primarily defensively, and that's what you do when you're defending. All of a sudden you send a surprise player forward around the back of the defense that the opposition's not expecting, and that's how you can get a game-clinching goal when you are in defend and counterattack mode.
Del Olmo the throw in. Palencia right there with Lawless. Now Lara takes the shot and just wide to the near side. Lara wearing number 6. He is just 23 years of age.
Yeah, and one of the young players. You talk about Bora bringing in these young players. He's gotten a lot of heat in Mexico for doing it, leaving out Carlos Hermosillo and Zaquino. But Bora wants to build his own team. And he loves to give young players a chance, because then they become very loyal to him. I mean, there's a certain amount of ego involvement here, and some of the older players maybe don't buy Bora's act quite so much, and they're more of a challenge to him, but he would much rather build players who are very happy to be on the team and feel they owe it to him. I think work hard for him.
There's Bora. He did the same thing with the U.S. national team.
Yes, indeed.
There were some longtime players that felt they should have been on, and Bora found some guys that maybe he liked a little bit better, maybe a little bit more attuned to his personality and way of doing things. A lot of boos coming. Campos wanted it, but Sol takes it down to Palencia. And Lawless giving chase. And we'd like you to spend your Father's Day laughing with your friends and neighbors on America's Funniest Home Videos, followed by Lois and Clark. Then Tracy Gold and Jill Clayburgh star in the Sunday night movie For the Love of Nancy. That's all tonight here on ABC.
All the calls now seem to be going against the U.S., and it's really starting to rattle them a lot. They're spending a lot of energy and emotional energy just complaining to the referee and so forth. And, you know, it's understandable, but it's exactly what Mexico wants.
Villa and Enrique Alfaro working on the far side. There's Paul Caligiuri, one of the true veterans of U.S. soccer. 110 appearances now for the national team. Mike Burns steals it away. Burns looking down. Oh, McBride lets it go through. That was a nice move. Harkes sends it over to Kobe Jones. And Kobe with Alfaro behind him now trying to run past Villa, and Villa with a little elbow there to take him off the ball, and Reyna steals it away. Now Reyna and Kobe, and number 2 Claudio Suarez doing some work on the back of Kobe Jones.
Well, the Mexican team knows that if they can put pressure on the wing players near the touchline, like Kobe Jones over there on that sideline, and win the ball away from them, that it's going to frustrate the Americans, because obviously that's the Americans' main offensive weapon. And Mexico has done a pretty good job of closing that down on both sides so far.
Set for the free kick.
Julie looking for space, see if he can get a header in here.
Set inside, off the head of McBride. So McBride had a good look at it. This young man was the leading scorer for the U.S. B team from 91 to 93. And he played with Wolfsburg in Germany, Division II.
Oh, he's a very promising young player, and he had a great, what they call free header, really, on that occasion. Got inside his man. His defender had not seen him before. He probably hasn't played, certainly hasn't played against him. But he makes a great run here to get at the end of Hart's free kick. He gets inside the defender, and really, you know, a more experienced player, a veteran player, would have buried that one in the corner of the net. But it's good to see him get in there.
Well, that's the way he's going to become a veteran player, to get into more of these games, because he obviously knows how to score. I mean, he's had a great start so far this year in MLS, and sort of got a raw deal over in Germany. There was a change of coaches, and they sort of forgot about him, so he was happy to come back home, and Columbus crew happy to have him. As we are in the 71st minute here, the United States and Mexico tied at 1. Roger Twibell, Seamus Mallon, Desmond Armstrong with you on this Father's Day, and hope it's been a good one for all you dads out there.
Well, another substitution.
Let's check with Desmond. Des?
Roger, looks like the U.S. is making another substitution. Mike Sorber comes in for Mike Burns to clog up the midfield a little bit.
Well, interesting substitution there, because of course Burnsy is a right-sided defender, and in the 4 backs that the U.S. deploys. But Sorber very much in midfield with lots of experience in Mexico, where he's played.
This portion of today's game is brought to you commercial-free by Canon. As Tab Ramos, the shot. Oh, Kobe Jones had it right there.
What a dreadful miss by Kobe Jones. Maybe not as bad as Palencia's whiff in the first half, but the critical importance of it at this time of the game, with 72 minutes gone, to get that goal, to get that shot on net. It looked like a sure goal. It was a great crossover. Super.
Got to finish, Seamus.
Yeah.
You've got to finish.
2 great chances for the U.S. there. Kobe Jones and McBride. Tab Ramos with a superb ball that clears the entire defense right to the foot of Kobe Jones. It couldn't have been better placed, and he needed just to get over it. You could see him leaning back there in his execution. And now a substitution for Mexico.
Blanco
comes in.
Number 11 checks into the game, and via number 13, or excuse me, that's number 18 who checks out of the game, Enrique Alfaro. Des, what do you got?
Down with Mike Burns just coming out of the game. Pretty tough game, hot down there.
Yeah, it's real hot out there, but you know, there's only 15 minutes left, so we have to take some more rest and push some people forward, and hopefully get the winning goal so we can win the U.S. Cup.
Hopefully so. Good luck to you, Roger.
All right, Desmond, thank you very much. What about the substitution now for Mexico? Seamus, what's Boer doing that?
Well, Boris mainly getting some fresh legs out there. He certainly does not want players giving up, losing their attackers through being tired. And he's got to get a fresh set of legs on. But also it is, you know, it is more defensive than offensive in mind, whereas the U.S. obviously is the other way around. Mike Sorber was, of course, discovered by Boris Milutinovic, if you will. And this is the first time we've seen him in an American shirt for a while.
Well, Sorber missed the Scotland game because he had a strained hip flexor muscle. He plays for the Kansas City Wiz, and one of the U.S. players that plays down in Mexico. Matter of fact, lived in Boer's house while he played down there. As Rafael Garcia sends it over to Palencia, and Caligiuri does a nice job to chip it out, trying to catch up with it, not able to. Sorber was a guy that Boer really liked. He was able to pull that midfield together. I think Steve Sampson maybe would like to see him go forward a little bit more. Because the fact of the matter is, this is a more offensive-minded team now than it was during World Cup '94. Palencia trying to measure the left foot. He went back to the right. And Lawless gets it to Reyna. Del Olmo behind Reyna, trips him up right at midfield, and it's going to be a throw-in for the United States.
Let's talk about Blanco for a minute as we look at Claudio. Blanco, who came in as a substitute. I didn't mean to imply that he is a defender. He is, in fact, more of an attacking player, but he is playing in a more withdrawn role at the back. And
Marks just runs over that ball there. Dooley was also down. Excuse me, Seamus.
It's okay. At the back of the midfield. I'm not saying at the back of the back four. He's a withdrawn sort of attacking midfielder and a useful guy to have when you want to do counter-tackle.
And Mexico winning the time of possession battle. All Mexico needs to do is tie to win this U.S. Cup. And it would also be some kind of revenge for that thrashing received at the hands of the United States last year at RFK Stadium. 4-0 U.S. win, which Dooley trying to come onto that ball, the header off of John Hart's, and Campos gets it and quickly throws it down the far side. That's Blanco, number 11.
And that's what he's supposed to do, defend and then break when there's an opportunity.
Campos is almost like a point guard in basketball in the sense that he can, when he sees something opening up down the field, he can get the ball down there quickly. He's not afraid to come out and into the midfield area if he has to at times. And he really kind of directs traffic for his whole team back there. Everything might be, in a way, dictated off of what he does, but he's very heady in that regard.
He is, indeed, and that is a huge asset, and that's what you want in goalkeeping. Somebody who really does take charge at the back and just doesn't merely, kick it upfield to anybody. Just a foul by Palencia on Lexi Lawless. So the Mexican team still playing with 4 players at the back, and the U.S. with 3 players up front. Reyna going up.
In the 77th minute, Sorber, Dooley, that's McBride. So McBride and Sorber have come on. A couple of St. Louis University products. Tom Dooley, Caligiuri comes up now. Reyna sends it over to Hartz. And Blanco was there to knock it away.
The third attacker for the U.S. varies. I mean, it's we all know, it's McBride and Reyna, but they're now trying to get a third player forward as much as possible. It was Kobe Jones once. It was Tom Dooley another time.
Blanco got a piece of that, knocks it away, but Reyna comes up with it. Reyna sends it inside and headed away by Davino, and Sorber gets it. Now Tab Ramos to Brian McBride, wearing number 3, and pushed off the ball right there, and a foul. That was Davino.
Well, that's a 12 minutes to go kind of foul. Julio Davino knowing how good Tab Ramos is at getting around the defense. Cannot afford to take any risks, and so he commits the foul.
Now Tab Ramos, free kick. U.S. has had a couple of good chances right from this particular area over here. And Ramos asking for a little help from the referee, Ronald Gutierrez. Low ball there, and is that Dooley?
Yes.
And he is holding that right leg. Slow in getting up. And see the fouls between the United States and Mexico. You had a lot of fouls in the Bolivia-U.S. game, Seamus.
Yes, in fact, quite a bit more than that, into the 40s somewhere. But we do have about 10 minutes to go here, or 11 minutes to go. Dooley was adjudged to have committed a foul as he went for that ball, too.
Off the head of Lawless, and Mexico will have a throw-in. Boris trying to get the attention of the referee. As substitute, Abundi's number 20 is going to come in for Palencia.
Yeah, that's a forward for a forward. Also a very good idea in a counter-attacking strategy. When you've had forwards working very hard, particularly 2 rather than 3, then you want to put some fresh legs on there up front too, against an American defense that's tiring and that is thinking of going forward all the time.
Well, with all the good breaks the United States has gotten, particularly Brad Friedel, who's really played a nice game, but he's had a couple of balls that have come in where maybe divine intervention has played a little bit of it. As this one comes back, and McBride giving chase now, running down Villa, but Villa is able to clear it out to Blanco. Kobe Jones right behind him and off McBride, and there'll be a throw-in for Mexico.
There's McBride. You saw how warmly he was greeted by Winalda when he left. Winalda, Eric was telling me yesterday that he's really looking forward to getting a chance to play some with McBride. He likes the way he plays. He's enjoyed working with him in practice.
Handball there off McBride.
Now the U.S. does need to start bringing new young players through the ranks. You mentioned this team is a veteran team, and they've got to start finding some new young players to come up and begin to think about the unthinkable, which is John Hartz and Ramos moving on, and Balboa,
Dooley, Caligiuri. I mean, you have a lot of guys who are already over 30 and approaching 30.
Yeah.
And that Seamus at the international level, as the ball comes inside, and once again Friedel and Luis Garcia darting across in front of him, and Brad was able to come up with it. So as we are into the 81st minute, if this game does end in a tie, there's no shootout. I mean, that's just the way it will end. In Mexico, if it is a tie, will win U.S. Cup 96, and would be quite a feather in the cap of the senior, Bora Milutinovic. Ball comes in, and Campos, and Reyna came in high that time, trying to get a piece of it as Lawless heads it back. McBride goes through his legs. Suarez has it taken away by Reyna, and Manuel Sol controls. Blanco, number 11. Chips it in. Luis Garcia's right there. A little fancy footwork, not able to bring it down.
And in the end, was called for a dangerous play by getting his foot up too high near Lexi Lawless's face.
That's a U.S. goal was disallowed in the Bolivia game because of a dangerous play. Seamus?
That's right. By Claudio Reyna.
Would have tied it at 1.
That's right. There you see Garcia flicking the ball up. Well, it didn't look that high to me.
Looked like Wallace's foot was right there with his. So the United States, and the thing I think we need to keep reminding people of Seamus, as this U.S. Cup 96 comes to a close, qualifying will be getting underway as Friedel sends a ball deep down to the other end. McBride now back to Ramos, and Sorber in the middle. That one of the things that Steve Sampson's doing is trying to find the right mix and the right combination to get ready for qualifying this fall, because the U.S. does not have entry into the World Cup as they did in '94. They have to qualify this time around.
That's right, they do. It's not going to be easy. They have some tough matches to play.
Luis Garcia sends it downfield. Blanco had it momentarily. Oh, look at Balboa. Beautiful job there as he trapped the ball between his 2 feet and then flicked it away. Now, Luis Garcia. Sorber. Left-footed ball back and taken off it and off the back of Wallace. The shot there by Abundis.
Abundis with a good challenge, but illegal, unfortunately, unlike this one, which was legal.
Look at this.
Nicely pinched away by Balboa, and then he turns on the ground and spins it away.
He's a very creative guy, isn't he? Feet don't fail me now. McBride. Reyna battling in there with Campos.
Well, Campos gets a bit of a break here. He started to push that ball out with his hands on the ground.
I wonder, McBride, did he see Reyna coming on? Was he trying to set something up for Reyna? It didn't look like he was taking a strong shot.
No, he was trying to push this one through. See, it's a little push pass through. Now, watch what Campos, see him touch the ball out there like that rather than just pick it up. Trying to get a bit more distance before he has to release the ball, but he almost copped it up to the United States. Well, the U.S. will, as you mentioned, have some World Cup matches coming up this fall. They have to play Costa Rica, Guatemala, and probably Trinidad and Tobago. That's not for sure yet.
Ramos by Davino. Can he catch up to it?
Wins
Is it going to be a corner?
Yeah,
Yes, he does. Great hustle there by Tab Ramos.
Tremendous hustle by Tab Ramos when you consider there's 5 minutes left to go in the game. It's hot. It's worked very hard. Let's see if the U.S. can pull something out here in the dying moments.
High ball this time. Wallace got a head on it. McBride chasing it down, and off of number 7 there for Mexico, Rafael Garcia. So McBride with the throw-in. Trying to get it into the area. Flipped out by Del Olmo. And look out, Luis Garcia. He's got Abendis on the side and tackled away there by Sorber. That's one of the things that Mike Sorber can really do. He's a strong tackler. And Friedel sending it quickly back to the other end. And here comes Campos. Ball's loose there.
Corner kick.
And Reyna's really having some words. And now Claudio Reyna. And Harks is in there.
I think Reyna might be upset with Campos because he thinks Campos was feigning an injury or feigning a foul. But there's the initial break when Sorber broke up. But Harks upset and obviously letting his fist fly a bit in there.
So the Mexican trainer still out treating Luis Garcia down at the other end. Garcia up on his feet now.
Well, the ball played in there, and Harks going for it. And also Campos looking like he's in great agony, but let's see if we can take a look.
Yeah, Harks a little.
There's the left jab.
Flicking left to the chin.
And now they're not giving a corner kick,
No.
it looks like. But I think Claudio Reyna was upset because he felt that Campos was just sort of making a meal of this whole thing and pretending that he was really hurt and in agony and rolling around the ground and all
Well,
that sort of
Campos'
stuff.
first move was to raise his hand up to get the attention of the referee, and then he went to the knee and feigned the injury. Well, now Campos going over to get the ball.
Well, gamesmanship is alive and well in this sport as it is in all sports. Some mysterious happenings at the American Hotel last night. For instance, a fire alarm going off at 3 o'clock has happened once before in Washington, D.C. when the U.S. was about to play Mexico the next day.
And the U.S. team not surprised at all by that development.
Happens a lot, of course, in various parts of the world where fans come out to a visiting team hotel and sing songs outside the windows all night. Not particularly attractive, but it does happen.
Lawless took Abendis across the near side. And Del Olmo.
But on the field of play, I'd have to say that, although not by any wide margin, Mexico has had, I think, a little bit of the edge today.
Kobe Jones doing battle there with Rafael Garcia, and Friedel quickly comes over to get the ball. Tied at 1. Mexico with a tie wins U.S. Cup 96. The United States needs a victory. U.S. beat Ireland 2-1, lost 2-0 to Bolivia. Got a big boost when Ireland came back to beat Bolivia 3-0.
Yep, so it was a terrific win for Ireland yesterday, although I must say, having watched the tape of the goals, only the goalkeeper for Bolivia had an absolute nightmare.
Balboa able to clear it away. Kobe Jones gets a piece of it. Now Dooley running onto it. Manuel Sol. McBride. Tab Ramos. We'll get it back to Caligiuri. Bad mistake right there. Blanco, as we near 90-minute mark, we'll have added time. We have the first half about 5-6 minutes, James.
Yeah, well, the goal was in the 48th minute. close to the 49th minute, so it was about 4 minutes before the referee finally ended it.
Now the United States trying to build something up here. Sorber, Kobe Jones. Kobe from nearby Westlake Village, California, tackled away beautifully there. And now Lawless gets a piece of it. Lawless does a great job to take it away from Del Olmo. Off the head of McBride. Sorber trying to go up for it. Davino got a piece of it. A dangerous situation, and Davino goes down. Now, quick restart. Caligiuri giving chase. Caligiuri can't come up with it. Abundis and Lawless battling. The shot, and in! Score Mexico!
Well,
Blanco.
yeah, and this is what happens when you go forward.
Blanco, number 11.
U.S. going forward and committing a lot of players forward, and eventually they get caught, but they have enough players back here. But it caroms off Marcelo Balboa, unfortunately for the United States. As you'll see it here, there's the pass across. And now watch it, it comes back to Blanco, and as he shoots it, just watch it hit. See, it hits the underneath of the foot of Balboa and goes nicky in the corner. And there is Bora. That's a huge goal for him, a huge goal for Mexico. And Mexico has scored 2 goals in this match, both after regulation time that ended.
Added time in the first half, and now here in the second half as we approach the 92nd minute.
216.
But there have been so many dangerous situations that Brad Friedel has had to deal with today. It just catches up with you after a while. I mean, the U.S. got a lot of great breaks in the early going, but Blanco, who came onto this game, gets the second goal for Mexico as Sol clears that out. And Dooley was pleading for a handball there.
He thought it carried off Sol's hand.
Now Blanco on the run again is taken off of it. Harks and Davino battling on the near side.
Well, Harks running because he wants to see if they can get a score here. The draw still won't do the trick, but they don't want to lose.
Harks, McBride got a piece of it. And in! Dooley ties it at 2!
And a great flick back by McBride there, who set it up beautifully by getting over the top and playing it back for Dooley. But we remind you that while a 2-2 tie saves the day in one sense, it still gives Mexico the U.S. Cup if it ends up like this.
And surprisingly enough, the U.S. would finish third behind Ireland in this 4-team competition. So we're in added time. We've had 2 goals in added time. So Tom Dooley, and that's it. So Mexico, after trailing 1-0 in the first half, gets a tying goal in added time of the first half, and then takes the lead in added time here in the second half. The United States comes right back to answer, but all Mexico needed today was a tie to win U.S. Cup 96. 2-2 the final here at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. As you see, the points for Mexico 5, Ireland 4, USA 4, the goal differential. And we will be back with more Our coverage of U.S. Cup 96 continues here on ABC Sports. Back here at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, the final score, an exciting finish. The United States and Mexico play to a 2-2 tie. Let's go to Desmond Armstrong. Des?
Down here with Alan Rothenberg, who is about to make the presentation to the Mexican coach Bora for the championship of U.S. Cup 96.
Bora, congratulations. I'm tired of saying if we can't win, I'm glad you did.
I love you. I love you. Thank you very much for everything. And you do for us.
Bora, Senor Bora. Do you have any comments for the public down there for your victory today?
No, yes, I'm so happy. You know, I have today 2 teams. My older son, my younger son. I am so happy for the game, for these people here.
Congratulations. Roger?
All right, Desmond, a Father's Day wish.